For the type 4, we have the sine x raised to m and cosine x raised to n, where both m and n are positive integer. Ang case natin dito is when m and n are both even, or when 1 is even. So itong tinutukoy na 1 dyan, so either si m or si n, and the other is 0. So either si m ay even, tapos yung n mo 0, or si m naman yung 0 and si n mo ay even, or both m and n are even, then applicable ito yung type 4 natin. So dito ay gagamitin natin yung identity number 4, 5, and 6 natin kanina. Example 5.4, so we have here the integral of sine squared theta, cosine squared theta, d theta. So dito makikita natin that our n is equal to 2 and your m is equal to 2. Itong exponent ng sine natin, yan yung m natin, and the exponent ng cosine, yan yung n natin. So we have to use this 3 identities here. So either si sine squared, yung reduction formula na sine squared, x is equal to 1 minus cosine 2x over 2, or the cosine squared x is equal to 1 plus cosine squared x over 2, or si sine x times cosine x is equal to 1/2 sine 2x. So if we are going to rewrite this, we have here sine theta, cosine theta, square d theta. No, so this sine theta, since yung sine theta, cosine theta ay yung identity number 6 natin, equal lang yan siya sa sine 2 theta. So substitute natin yung 1/2 sine 2 theta dito. So we would have 1/2 sine 2 theta square d theta and integral. So yung 1/2 square is 1/4, pwede na nating i-factor out. So ilabas natin siya. That is 1/4 multiplied by sine 2 theta, so that's sine raised to 2 square of 2 theta d theta, and the integral sign. Okay, so ito ngayon ay express natin using the reduction formula. So from the identity, sine squared theta is equal to 1/2 1 minus cosine 2 theta. So meaning if may double angle tayo, we would have sine squared of 2 theta is equal to 1/2 1 minus ito madodouble din cosine 4 theta. So substitute natin dito, and we would have equal to 1/4 multiplied by one-half 1 minus cosine 4 theta d theta, and this is equal to, so itong 1/2 ilabas natin, so that's 1/4 times 1/2 is 1/8 integral of 1 minus cosine 4 theta d theta, and distribute, we have 1/8 integral of d theta minus 1/8 integral of cosine 4 theta d theta. So we have 1/8, the integral of d theta is theta, And here, we have the cosine of 4 theta. So, from our formula, the integral of cosine v dv is equal to sine v plus c, provided that dv here is derivative of the angle v. So since your v here is equal to 4 theta, meaning your dv is 4d theta. So ang derivative natin, kulang tayo ng 4 dito. So minus 1/8 integral of cosine 4 theta d theta. So we multiply 4. We have 4 here. So we are required to multiply the reciprocal 1/4 dito sa labas. So derivative na ng angle niya yung katabi niya. Then we can now directly use the formula. So this is 1/8 theta minus 1/8 times 1/4 is 1/32. So the derivative of cosine v is sine v. So that's sine, your v is 4 theta. So that's 4 theta plus c. And this is our answer. Example 5.5. So we have here the integral of sine theta to the 4th d theta. So exponent ng sine natin, this is exponent ng sine natin, that is m. So meaning your m is equal to 4 and wala tayong nakikitang cosine. Your cosine n is equal to 0. So power reducing formula lang yung gagamitin natin dito. We have integral of si sine to the 4th. So we can express this as sine squared theta raised to 2 d theta. And the sine squared here ay papalitan natin no power reducing formula. We have the sine squared theta is equal to 1 minus cosine 2 theta over 2. So pareho lang yun siya, no? Sa 1/2, 1 minus 2 theta yung ginamit natin sa previous na example natin. So we have this is equal to 1 minus cosine 2 theta over 2 raised to 2 d theta. And itong 1/2 raised to 2, so that's 1/4. Ilabas na lang natin siya. So it's 1/4. And the expansion of 1 minus cosine 2 theta is square the first. So that's 1 minus 2 times first times second term. So that's 1 times cosine 2 theta is cosine 2 theta. And square the last term, that's cosine square 2 theta. So we have here 1 minus 2 cosine 2 theta plus cosine 2 theta squared d theta. So distribute natin, we have 1/4 integral of d theta minus 2 times 1/4, so it's 1/2 integral of cosine 2 theta d theta plus 1/4 integral of cosine squared of 2 theta d theta. So for the first term, we have here 1/4. The integral of d theta is theta minus. So dito sa second term, since yung v natin dyan ay equal sa 2 theta, therefore your dv is 2 d theta. So kulang tayo ng 2 dyan. Kulang tayo ng 2 dito. So mag-multiply tayo dyan ng 2. So since nag-multiply ka ng 2, required tayong mag-multiply ng 1/2. So mag-multiply tayo ng 1/2 dito sa labas. So we have here 1/4. Since derivative niya na yun nandito, the integral of cosine is sine. So that's sine of v, which is 2 theta. And ang gagawin natin dito ay gagamitin natin ng power reducing formula. So according to power reducing formula, the cosine squared of theta is equal to 1 plus cosine 2 theta over 2. So since this is cosine squared 2 theta. Therefore, 1 plus cosine, times 2 lang natin yung angle natin. So, that's 4 theta over 2. So, plus 1/4 integral of 1 plus cosine 4 theta over 2 d theta. So, we have here 1/4 theta minus 1/4 sine of 2 theta plus 1/8 integral of d theta plus 1/8 integral of cosine 4 theta d theta. So, this would be equal to 1/4 theta minus 1/4 sine 2 theta plus 1/8 theta. And dito, since your b is equal to 4 theta, therefore your dv is equal to 4d theta. So, kulang na lang tayo ng 4 dito. We multiply 4 and we multiply 1/4 dito sa unahan. So, we would have plus 1 over 32. The integral of cosine is sine, so that's sine of 4 theta plus c. So, since may theta tayo dyan at may theta tayo dito, pagsamahin natin, 1/4 plus 1/8 is 3/4. So, it's 3/4 theta minus 1/4 sine of 2 theta plus 1 over 32 sine 4 theta plus c. And this is our answer. Example 5.6. Example 5.6, we have here the integral of the cotangent x cubed dx. So, makikita natin dito that we have the integral of cotangent and x dx. And this would fall to type 2. No? So, anong sinasabi dun sa rule ng type 2? So, kung babalikan natin yung type 2, makikita natin that this is the rule, no? So, if n is equal to 1, then tangent x is equal to negative ln cosine x or equal to ln of secant. If that is cotangent, so this is equal to ln of sine x plus c. And if it is greater than 1, so there is no restriction whether this is odd or even. Basta siya ay greater than 1, what we have to do is to factor out the tangent square for tangent and express this tangent into secant using the identity tangent square theta is equal to secant square theta minus 1. And if it is cotangent, we have to factor out the cotangent square and then express this cotangent in terms of cosecant square minus 1. Since in our problem, we have the cotangent cube x dx, so this would fall in this situation. So, gagawin natin is to factor out the cotangent square. So, this would be cotangent x cotangent square x dx. Sorry about this part kasi hindi na-capture ng screen recorder yung solution natin. So, i-discuss ko na lang kung paano nangyari itong solution na to. So, since this is type 2, so if n is equal to 1, the cotangent x dx is just equal to ln sine x. But if n is greater than 1, we factor out the cotangent square x. So we have the cotangent raised to n minus 2 of x multiplied by cotangent x squared dx. And then we will express the cotangent square x into cosecant square x minus 1. So we would have the integral of the cotangent x multiplied by the cotangent square x dx since your n is equal to 3. And expressing the cotangent square into cosecant, we have the integral of cotangent x multiplied by cosecant square x minus 1 dx. We distribute the cotangent x by applying the dPMA, then we have the integral of cotangent x cosecant square x dx minus the integral of cotangent x dx. So we let our v equal to cotangent x, and taking the derivative, we have dv is equal to negative cosecant square x dx. So meron na tayong cosecant square x dx dito, kulang na lang tayo ng negative para yung cosecant square x dx natin ay maging derivative ng cotangent x. So we multiply negative to cosecant square x dx, and then we multiply negative sa labas. For the second term, since your n is equal to 1, the integral of the cotangent x dx is just equal to negative ln sine x. But if we are going to take a review on that, actually this topic was already discussed under the integrals leading to logarithm. So we would have the negative cotangent x dx is equal to, using the identity, cotangent x is equal to cosine over sine. So that's equal to integral of the negative cosine x dx over sine x. And since our denominator is sine x, so let v is equal to sine x, and taking the derivative of that, dv is equal to cosine x dx. So since derivative na ng denominator yung nasa numerator, so it is just the ln of the denominator. So negative ln sine x. Pero since we already memorized the integral of the cotangent x, therefore hindi na natin kailangang ipakita yung integrals leading to logarithm. And then, so para sa first term natin, since derivative na ng cotangent yung nandito sa tabi niya, so therefore we can now apply the general power formula, and we have the negative cotangent square x, since your n is equal to 1 here, so n plus 1 is 2, so cotangent square x over n plus 1 over 2 minus ln x plus c, and this is our answer. Example 5.7, integral of secant x raised to 4 tangent x raised to 4 dx. So, ito, yung secant na to will fall on type 3. So, this is, kung babalikan natin sa previous discussion, this is type 3. Ano yung inaabangan natin pag nakakita tayo ng type 3? So, check natin whether the exponent of the tangent is odd or the exponent of secant is even. So, saan to magpo-fall? Yung m natin is equal to 4 and your n is equal to 4. So, dito siya magpo-fall. Your n is equal to 4. Now, pag ganito yung case that the exponent of the secant is even, magpa-factor out tayo ng secant square. So, we have here secant n minus 2x secant square x dx. Then, we will express this secant n minus 2x in terms of tangent square x plus 1 n minus 2. So, we would have the integral of, we will factor out the secant square. So, your n is equal to 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So, that's secant square x secant square x tangent to the fourth x dx. Then we will express this in terms of tangent. So we would have tangent square x plus 1 secant square x tangent to the fourth x dx. And this is tangent square times secant square times tangent to the fourth, and that's tangent to the sixth x secant square x dx plus 1 times secant square tangent to the fourth, that's tangent to the fourth x secant square x dx. If we let v is equal to tangent x, then your dv is equal to secant square x dx. So since ito ay derivative ng tangent, therefore we can now apply the general power formula. So that's n is equal to 6, n plus 1 over n plus 1, and we would have tangent to the 7th x over 7 plus n plus 1, so that's 4 plus 1 tangent to the 5th x over 5 plus c. And this is our answer. Example 5.8, we have here the integral of secant x raised to 5 tangent x raised to 3 dx. So, titingnan muna natin if which type is this. So, since secant to, meaning this would fall to type 3. So, this is type 3. And check natin kung under sa type 3, saan siya magpo-fall. Sa'yo ba o sa kanya? Joke. The exponent of secant, so that's n, is equal to 5. And the exponent of tangent is equal to 3. So, ito lang naman yung tinitingnan natin dito. Whether your n is even or your m is odd. We have here, dapat n is even, so odd naman yung n natin. We have m is odd, so therefore, dito yan siya magpo-fall. And ano yung rule natin dito if we have this? I-express natin yung secant n x tangent m x dx, magpa-factor out tayo ng sectant. So, we have here secant n minus 1x tangent m minus 1x secant x tangent x. And then we will express this tangent here into secant using the identity tangent square x is equal to secant square x minus 1. So, anong mangyayari? We would have, magpa-factor out tayo ng sectant. So, minus 1, that's secant, 5, so it's 4. Tangent cube, so that's square. And our secant. Now, we will express this tangent into secant square. And that is secant to the 4th x secant square x minus 1 multiplied by secant, so secant x tangent x dx. And distribute natin, so secant to the 4th times secant square, so it's secant to the 6th x multiplied by secant. So remind ko lang ulit na ingatan to, ang term na to, na hindi siya maibalik doon. So, dapat ito ay nakahiwalay kasi the derivative of secant is secant. So, yun yung goal natin para ma-apply natin yung general power formula. Minus the integral of secant to the 4th times 1. So, it's secant to the 4th x multiplied by secant x tangent x dx. And if we are going to let our v equal to secant x, then your dv is equal to secant x tangent x dx. So, since derivative niya na yung katabi niya, therefore, we can now apply the general power formula. So, that would be secant to the 6 plus 1. So, it's secant to the 7th x over 7 minus, so it's n is equal to 4 plus 1, so that's 5 secant to the 5th x over 5 plus c. And this is our answer. Example 5.9. So we have here the integral of cotangent to the 7th theta d theta. So, check natin kung anong type ito. And of course, this is type 2. Kasi sa type 2, we have the integral of tangent and cotangent. So, it's type 2. And your n is equal to 7. So, meaning your n is greater than 1. So, ang rule natin doon is to factor out the cotangent square. So, cotangent n minus 2 cotangent square theta. And we express this cotangent square in terms of cosecant using the identity cotangent square theta is equal to cosecant square theta minus 1. So, we would have cotangent square ay magiging cosecant square minus 1. So, we would have cotangent to the 5th multiplied by cosecant square minus 1 d theta. And cotangent to the 5th times cosecant square, and that is cotangent to the 5th cosecant square theta d theta minus 1 times cotangent to the 5th. So, it's cotangent to the 5th theta d theta. So we would have the integral of cotangent to the 5th theta cosecant square theta d theta. We will multiply negative dito sa cosecant square para maging derivative niya na yung katabi niya. So negative, and this is negative. How about the second term? So kung titingnan natin dito, again, your n is equal to 5. So, apply ulit natin to hanggat hindi natin nalo-lower yung degree ng equation natin paulit ng paulit itong step na to. So, we have minus the integral of, pa-factor out natin si cotangent square. So, it's cotangent to the cube theta cotangent square theta d theta. So, for the first term, since derivative niya na yung katabi niya, n plus 1 over n plus 1, and we would have cotangent to the 6 theta over 6 minus, express natin si cotangent square in terms of cosecant square theta minus 1. So, that's integral of cotangent cube multiplied by cosecant square theta minus 1 d theta equal to cotangent to the 6 theta over 6 minus the integral of cotangent cube cosecant square theta d theta plus the integral of cotangent cube d theta. So again, we will multiply negative dito sa loob since the derivative of the cotangent is negative cosecant. So, we will multiply negative dito sa loob, and it's negative cosecant square theta d theta. And kung multiply tayo ng negative dito, so that would be positive na. So, we would have cotangent to the 6 theta over 6 plus n plus 1 over n plus 1. So, 3 plus 1, so that's 4. Cotangent to the 4 theta over 4 plus, again, yung n natin dito is equal to 3. So, uulitin natin tong step na to. And we would have the integral of cotangent n minus 2. So, cotangent theta, cotangent square theta d theta. And we have cotangent to the 6 theta over 6 plus cotangent to the 4 theta over 4 minus, so i-direct ko na ha, magta-times ako ng negative dito, so naging minus na to, cotangent theta times negative cotangent square theta d theta. So we would have cotangent to the 6th theta over 6 plus cotangent to the 4th theta over 4. Since derivative niya na yung katabi niya, n plus 1 over n plus 1 lang, so it's minus cotangent square theta over 2 plus c. And this is our answer. Example 5.10, we have the integral of sine to the 7th theta d theta. So this would fall to type 1. So ano yung sabi ng type 1? We will factor out n minus 1 dun sa exponent natin. If we have the sine of 7 theta, that would be sine to the 6th theta sine theta. And the sine to the 6th here will be expressed into cosine using the Pythagorean identity. Sine squared theta is equal to 1 minus cosine squared theta. And magkakaroon na tayo ng power of a cosine multiplied by sine, and we will proceed with the general power formula. So this will be equal to sine integral of sine to the 6th theta sine theta d theta. And we will express the sine to the 6th here into cosine squared. So kakaroon tayo ng sine squared theta raised to 3 sine theta d theta. So itong sine squared papalitan natin ng 1 minus cosine squared. So we would have 1 minus cosine squared theta raised to 3 sine theta d theta. So review ulit natin yung binomial expansion natin. If we have a minus b raised to 2, that would be equal to, so using the Pascal triangle, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1. So since negative to, it's positive, negative, positive, negative. So yun yung sign convention natin. We have the 1 multiplied by the cube of the first term, so it's a cube, minus 3 multiplied by, bawasan natin ng isa, yung exponent ng first term natin, so that's a square, and we will multiply the second term b. Then plus 3, so that's plus 3. Bawasan natin ng isa yung first term, so that's a. Dagdagan natin ng isa yung second term, so that's b squared. And minus 1, so that's minus 1. And so pag binawasan natin ng isa yung first term, so 0 na siya, and the second term will be cube na. And that's b cube. And ito yung magiging pattern ng binomial expansion natin dito. Yung a natin, ito yon. Yung b natin ay ito yon. So by binomial expansion, we would have 1, because it's 1 raised to 3 is 1, minus 3 a square, so that's 1 multiplied by b, and your b is cosine square, so it's cosine square theta, plus 3 times a, so it's 1, and times b square, so the square of b, since b natin ay cosine square, ang square niyan ay cosine to the 4th, minus the cube of the second term. So that's, the cube ng negative is negative, cosine square cube, that's cosine to the 6th. Yan, multiplied by sine theta d theta. So by distribution, we would have the integral of sine of theta d theta minus, ilabas natin si 3, integral of cosine squared theta sine theta d theta plus, ilabas natin si 3, cosine to the fourth theta multiplied by sine theta d theta minus this term, it's integral of cosine to the sixth theta sine theta d theta. So from here, we let our v is equal to cosine theta, and of course your dv is equal to negative sine theta. So we would have here the integral of sine theta d theta natin is negative cosine theta. And this one, since kulang tayo ng negative dyan, so magmumultiply tayo ng negative dito and negative sa labas. So this would be positive na. And here, magmumultiply tayo ng negative and negative sa labas. So magiging negative na to. And negative dito, negative sa labas. So magiging positive na to. So since derivative niya na yung katabi niya, so therefore we can now apply the general power formula. So that would be plus 3 cosine squared plus 1. So it's cosine cube theta over 3. No? So eventually, we will cancel this out. Minus 3 cosine n plus 1. So that's to the 5th theta over 5 plus cosine to the 7th theta over 7 plus c. And this is our answer. Example 5.11, we have the integral of cosine theta raised to 6 d theta. So n is even and hindi natin nakikita si sine. So yung exponent na sine is 0 and we consider 0 as even. So this would fall to type 4. And sa type 4, we are using the power reducing formula. Sine squared theta is equal to 1 minus cosine to theta over 2. Cosine squared theta is equal to 1 plus cosine 2 theta over 2. And the sine theta cosine theta is equal to 1/2 sine 2 theta. Okay, so we will express this in terms of cosine squared. So we would have integral of cosine squared theta raised to 3 d theta. And this cosine squared theta ay gagamitan natin ng power reducing formula. So we have here the integral of 1 plus cosine 2 theta over 2 raised to 3 d theta. And 1/2 raised to 3, so that's 1/8. 1/8 integral of, so dito yung binomial expansion to the degree 3, so it's 1 kasi kung sa Pascal triangle it's 1, 3, 3, 1. So 1, 3, so it's 1, 3, it's cosine 2 theta. So 1 times cosine 2 theta plus 3, it's 1 times the square of the second term. So it's cosine square 2 theta plus 1, plus the cube of the second term. It's plus cosine cube 2 theta d theta. So we would have here 1/8 integral of d theta plus 1/8 times 3, so that's 3/8 integral of cosine 2 theta d theta plus 3 times 1/8, so that's 3/8 integral of cosine squared 2 theta d theta plus 1/8 times this term, it's 1/8 integral of cosine cube 2 theta d theta. So for the first term, we have here equal to 1/8 integral of d theta is theta plus 3/8. So the integral of 2 theta is 2 d theta, so we have to multiply 1/2 sa labas, and this is cosine 2 theta 2 d theta. Then ito, gagamitan ulit natin ang power reducing formula. So since the cosine squared theta is equal to 1 plus cosine 2 theta over 2, the cosine squared of 2 theta is equal to 1 plus cosine 4 theta over 2. So ito lang, tina-times 2 natin, no? So tina-times 2 natin to, so that's why this is 4. And that would be plus 3/8 integral of 1 plus cosine 4 theta over 2 d theta plus 1/8. Ito ay cube, so therefore this would fall sa ating type 1. So sabi dun sa type 1, we have to factor out the cosine kasi this is cosine cube. So we have here cosine squared of 2 theta cosine 2 theta d theta. Okay, so meron tayong 1/8 theta plus 3 over 16. Since the derivative of cosine v dv is sine v, so therefore we have sine 2 theta. Then we have here plus 3/8 times 1/2, so it's 3 over 16 integral of d theta plus 3 over 16 integral of cosine 4 theta d theta plus we have 1/8. Itong cosine squared theta, cosine squared 2 theta ay express natin in terms of sine squared using the Pythagorean identity. So we have here 1 minus sine squared 2 theta multiplied by cosine 2 theta d theta. And we have here 1/8 theta plus 3 over 16 sine of 2 theta, and we have 3 over 16 integral of d theta is theta, and dito since our v is equal to 4, your derivative, the derivative of the angle is 4d theta, so we multiply 4 here and we multiply 1/4 dito sa labas. So that's 3 over 64 the integral of cosine is sine v, so that's 4 theta plus 1/8 ito multiplied by the integral of cosine 2 theta d theta minus 1/8 integral of this term sine squared 2 theta cosine 2 theta d theta. So pagsamahin natin tong 1/8 and 3/16. So we would have 5 over 16. So this is 5/16 theta plus 3 over 16 sine 2 theta plus 3 over 64 sine 4 theta plus dito, so the derivative of 2 theta is 2d theta. So we multiply 2 here and we multiply 1/2 dito sa labas. And that's 1 over 16. The integral of cosine is sine. The v is 2 theta, so it's 2 theta. So we let our v is equal to sine of 2 theta. Then dv is equal to cosine 2 theta multiplied by the derivative of the angle, it's 2d theta. So simplifying this, we have 2 cosine 2 theta d theta. So dito, kulang na lang tayo ng 2. So we multiply 2 here and we multiply 1/2 dito sa labas. So that's 1/8 times 1 over 2, so it's 1 over 16. Since derivative niya na yung katabi niya, n plus 1 over n plus 1, so that would give you sine cube of 2 theta over 3 plus c. Simplifying further, we have here sine 2 theta and sine 2 theta. Pagsamahin natin, so this is 5 over 16 theta. Pagsamahin natin si 3 over 16 sine 2 theta at saka 1 over 6, that's 1/4. 1 over 4 sine of 2 theta, and we have here plus 3 over 64 sine of 4 theta minus 1 over 16 times 1/3, so it's 1 over 48 sine cube of 2 theta plus c, and this is our answer.